Unfortunately, you guys are gonna love this. I don't have an update on Jack. Here's the delay in all of it. We're waiting on a second opinion, and until we get that second opinion, I think it'd be irresponsible to just.
The second opinion review of what the test's already done, or did you go somewhere to get another one?
Yeah, with the test, the initial test that we're looking at. Yeah. So, I think responsible thing to do is wait for that second opinion, and then just lay out everything all at once.
What kind of injection did Alex get yesterday? Did you get clarity on that?
I did not get clarity on it.
Okay.
I figured you would double up on that. But
Do you want me to? I will. I'll find out and I'll tell people.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'll check. Sorry.
Is it frustrating to be on pause? You know, one of your best pitchers, and you'd like to know a path going forward, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, equally as anxious as you guys to figure out what's going on. So, camp moves on. We'll continue. There's a lot going on, so we'll continue to do our work. But yeah, it'd be nice to know kind of what's going on with him and what the plan is going to be moving forward. But our hope is we get it here pretty soon.
When you say pretty soon, does it? I mean, I don't know if you know, but is it possible it could be this day? Today?
Yeah, I've been wrong 3 days in a row now. So I'm just hoping soon is soon. Yeah.
Sometime in this.
Sometime in the yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah.
Gio make it into camp today, or?
Yeah, he arrives later on this afternoon, late afternoon, and he'll join us tomorrow. I think he does his intake and everything in the morning, but he lands here shortly.
Ollie, we've talked a lot about pitching because pitching is the story of any shortened spring training. Well, it's just the story of baseball, but particularly in a shortened spring training. Do you have to have 2 tracks operating now, like with Jack and without Jack, because the runway is so short to prepare?
Yeah, and that's the part that's makes us a little bit like waiting on the news and anxious is in our ability to plan. As of now, we're planning, to your point, 2 separate tracks. What does it look like, and what's the timetable for him to be able to break with us, and then how many outings does that actually give us compared to if he doesn't break with us? So we're formulating both. Hopefully it's not the one without him.
How do you feel about your starter depth now that you've seen Verhagen and Brooks and Woodford? How do you feel about like kind of the depth there?
I'd like to wait to see them in actual game action and see them competing, see them experience a little bit of failure out there, see how they react to it. But I'll have a better opinion once we start these games. Live BP's been great.
Is Jack here today?
Jack is here today. Yeah.
What do you? I mean, I'm at the risk of asking the obvious. What do you get in games from guys that you haven't seen in games before that live BP doesn't reveal to you?
It's not so much you get a ton more other than just the intensity, overall nerves, anxiety are heightened a little bit compared to live BP where there's not a ton of fans. You can get away with things it doesn't really count as much as a game. So just seeing how people react to that heightened intensity more than anything. Stuff is stuff as far as like their pitch arsenal. Yeah.
From the Department of Tracks, are you all operating under the assumption, the hope that you're going to be at a 28 roster size with 14 or 15 pitchers? I know that's not official. It's still maybe under consideration.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, how does that work in the preparation at this point?
Yeah, it'd be nice, especially not being able to stretch guys out, to have that extra guy to give you some protection innings-wise would be ideal for sure.
Are you under the impression if it goes to 28, it'll be 14 and 14?
That would be my assumption.
Yeah.
Ollie, from a manager perspective, how do you weigh overreacting and underreacting to pitchers in such a limited sample size that you're going to get this spring?
You can easily get fooled on a guy that has a great spring and can't hold his own during the season, and vice versa. Someone that struggles here and gives you a little bit of concern and then does really well. So I remember the first year we had Miles, his spring wasn't really impressive. I was one of the ones.
That was generous.
That first time. I remember sitting in the office thinking, man, what is this going to look like during the year? And we got a great year out of him. So it's hard not to get fooled. I don't like to react one way or another other than just judge the individual for some of the other things outside of like their performance, like how they handle certain other areas outside of just pitching or hitting. Yeah.
Ollie, Dakota made it back last year, and can you just talk about where he's at now in spring?
Yeah,
I know he's a worker.
He's in a really good spot. I'm extremely excited about what he's going to be able to do. I've liked him for several years, and just to have him back in the rotation is going to be a lot of fun. He's in a good spot physically. He's in a good spot mentally. He's got a great routine. and I've got nothing but positive things to say about Dakota.
Any update on Yadi? Anything there, or still?
I don't. Still in the same spot as last time. No new communication on my end at all.
Are you looking forward to us asking you about lineups all the time?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
But in all seriousness, like tomorrow is you're 3 weeks away from Busch Stadium, but tomorrow's a game. I mean, for you, what do you look forward to?
No different than the first person to toe the rubber and kind of go up was Waino and against Goldie and O'Neill. We're gonna put out our legit lineup and let those guys play together for a couple innings and go from there.
Who's your DH in your legit lineup?
Ooh, tomorrow.
Since you brought it up,
DH. I wonder if I pumped it out to the players just yet. Did we send it to the players? I believe we did.
I don't know if the players
You probably did.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I think Skip already sent it out. I think Newpar's DHing tomorrow.
okay.
Who's your leadoff hitter tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Eddie's leading off tomorrow versus Berlin.
Just blame Skip if it wasn't sent out.
It's fine.
And you got Wainwright and you said Cabrera's. Who else you got scheduled?
I'd have to look at it off the top. Yeah.
If we're doing this, is DeYoung the starting shortstop tomorrow?
Tomorrow, DeYoung's at short. Yeah.
We're definitely doing this, Benjamin.
We're in now.
Ollie, understand we celebrate the opening day roster, but it might only be the roster for a few weeks. You know, that's just the nature of baseball, that it's actually who's on the roster the longest that creates a contender. Knowing that, do you think it's unlikely Jack is on the opening day roster? And now the question is just how much, into the season it is. Do you have to tread lightly with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wish I knew more. I have zero idea if he's going to be a week or a month. As of today, I have very little information. Yeah.
What have you seen from Kyle Ryan so far in camp? It's got a lot of big league experience. It seems like that's left side of your bullpen.
Yeah, I actually complimented him. I was on field too. He was doing some PFP over on the half field, and it was interesting because even from far away, he was there with a group of 4, and I drove over just to let him know, he's gone about even the small details of PFP and some of the other stuff with an incredible amount of attention to detail, and the intensity is very game-like. He's approaching every single day with intentionality, which is good to see out of him. He's a guy with experience, with some funk to him, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing him a little more in games. Yeah.
If it is a 14 pitcher environment, does a third lefty maybe make a little more sense with that kind of, or does that 14 spot look maybe more like length? I don't know.
It depends. I'm gonna take 14 of our best guys. Yeah, they can get outs.
Helsley had an elbow and a knee this offseason. How is he? Is he back all the way?
Yeah, he's back all the way. His knee feels great. Elbow feels great. Had a conversation with him yesterday in the morning, and this is the best he's felt in a long time. So positive there.
What do you expect his role to be? I know that things are flexible and you like to keep things fluid, but if you were going to pinpoint Helsley anywhere and how you'd use him, where would that be?
It's tough to say, and not just to not give you an answer. I can see him being used several different ways. He can be a guy that comes in and bridges you to the back end and gives you multiple innings every time he comes in the 6-7 spot. He can be a guy that, you look at Helsley and his stuff and what he's capable of doing, he can close for any club in the league. So there's a lot of different ways we can use Helsley. I'd hate to box him into a specific role outside of. I think he's going to get some big outs for us.
You think maybe even piggybacking would be an option there?
I wouldn't take any of it off too. Yeah.
How hard is it? So you talk about possibly having not a closer, but wins the highest intensity inning. If it's the 7th or 8th, maybe go Gio then or whoever you want.
Yeah, sure.
I know you've not managed in the big leagues yet, but do you hear some, in spring it seems like every team, many teams say that, and then once it happens, nope, we're going with the same dude in the 9th inning. Have you seen that in previous years with St. Louis? And I guess what I'm saying is once you have to make that decision, do you go by the numbers or do you go by your gut? Or I don't know if I asked that very well, but hopefully.
Which question do you want me to answer?
What do you have the best quote with? No, I'm just kidding. I guess my question is on March 17th we can stand here oh yeah, we're definitely going to have our closer pitch in the 7th if it's the highest leverage situation. But then on June 17th, do you stick to your guns?
As we sit here today, I would say yes. I'd stick to my guns. I really, when you look at the course of a game, and just the way I view it, like I don't think your ninth inning guy has to throw the ninth inning all the time. I don't think that's the smartest way to go about it. So yeah, for me, it all falls to the highest leverage situation, and your best guy pitches that highest leverage situation. So my hope is that on June 15th, I'm saying the same thing.
And is part of it, and I'm not talking about specific humans on the Cardinals, but I presume part of it's also managing egos, because some dudes are like, I'm the ninth inning guy.
I think you're spot on there. Yeah, and part of that is just creating a culture where it's acceptable in that clubhouse, where the guys feel, if you're just throwing it on them out of nowhere, that's where you get the ego. But if at the end of the day you say, hey, this is our best chance to win, you create a culture where guys see the benefit of helping the team in the 7th or the 8th or the 9th, or on certain occasions piggybacking, like you mentioned, like it's creating a culture where those guys see the benefit of, this is how we win a World Series, not this is how I get a contract. And if you're good at communicating that and creating that culture, then you can do it. If not, you get pushed back and it falls apart.
Yeah, speaking of culture, Coach, yesterday got the chance to talk to Mats and got the chance to throw some live BP. Obviously, I'd love to get your thoughts on that, but kind of a second part to that. When you talk about culture, having a new guy come in and really buying into the Cardinals' way and the way about winning and expectations, is that something you instill in him, or is that something they just kind of get when they come in the building?
Well, I'd love to take credit for that. I think that culture's been created here for a lot longer than I've been here. Someone like Matt specifically, we had several Zoom conversations with him prior to him even agreeing to come here, and he wanted to make sure that the culture was what it is, what we talk about, and that we actually had a plan to develop him further than where he's at today, and we were able to communicate that clearly, and he made the choice to come, and we'll deliver on our end. Yeah.
Arenado said he looked pretty good yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he looked very good. Nolan was able to get on top of a couple and shoot in the right center. He felt good about that, but Matt's balls getting on the hitters, he was able to get some swing and misses under the zone, beat a couple guys at the top of the zone. The guys felt like it was his fastball was getting on him a little bit day one, so it's only going to improve from there, so definitely positive.
Appreciate it.
One more with Jack. He said he didn't think it was that bad. That's his initial opinion. Did you learn anything from the first diagnosis or first evaluation?
Yeah, the most responsible thing is going to be for us to get that second opinion and then lay it out all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you can appreciate that.
With the second opinion, is it a second opinion on the diagnosis of what's wrong with him, or a second opinion on how to proceed from what you believe the diagnosis is?
A little bit of both. It'll be on what the initial imaging, and then kind of getting all the brains together and what the plan should be moving forward. Yeah.
That was his request, right?
I mean, I think it's for everyone's benefit. I think everyone wants to be on that same page.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oli, you've obviously been through many camps, but this is your first as manager. What have you learned in the first 4 days that you may not have known going into this position specifically? Okay.
Gosh,
Anything surprise you?
That's the way I kind of took the question. Like, has anything surprised me to this point that I wasn't expecting? And the reality is, like, as the bench coach, you're involved in a lot of the day-to-day stuff that the manager's involved in outside of standing here with you guys. So there's been nothing that's really surprising. I've been able to experience the conversation with the front office when I was in the bench coach position. So, I mean, nothing to this point has been out of the norm of what I expected.
So we haven't ruined it for you?
Not yet.
Found this to be a much more joyous experience.
It's only 4 days. Yeah, it's time.
How about the weight of expectations and responsibilities versus injuries in the past would go to somebody else? Do you feel a little more weight of responsibility of, like, you could worry about more things when you leave the ballpark?
Yeah, I guess I can speak to that a little bit. At the end of the day, it falls on your shoulders. That's just part of the gig. It's a responsibility that I'm looking forward to. So there's more communication with our front office. As much as I was involved before, there's more of it now, more with the medical team, more in answering to certain injuries and moves as we start to get into games and actual rosters. So I'm sure that'll change as we kind of move this forward. But as of today, I think it's about what I expected. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Oli.